Hi, my name is Larene, and welcome to the Sacred Secret Society. This channel I am starting for a number of reasons, but I'm just going to introduce myself a little bit, let you know a little bit about me. Hopefully you'll follow this journey with me and we'll get some answers about some things happening in our world. So as I said, my name is Larene, and I was born in Utah, and then I was moved to the Garden of Eden when I was in first grade. And so I've lived kind of in that area now for a while. I was born and raised in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, also known as the LDS Church or the Mormon Church. They are the ones with the big huge temples built everywhere that you can't go into, unless you're worthy, of course. I left the church and tried to go back a couple times, and then I kind of left all of that behind for a good about 10 years. And then after I had my second daughter, I turned around and I looked at the building that was on fire, and I started doing a lot of research into a lot of things. And what I saw broke my heart, and I'm still heartbroken trying to pick up all the pieces from the trauma that has been. There's a lot to go into, and I just feel like we need to talk about it so that we can get some answers to the world that we're living in. I have 7 full siblings. My mom and dad had 8 altogether. I'm the second youngest, and I have 23 nieces and nephews. I always have to count them up every time. All together that I really have no relationship with at all. I have a relationship with a couple of my siblings, very, very briefly, in brief interactions with, and I kind of burned some bridges after I had my second daughter with some of them. So I just kind of want to get into my story and talk about the harm that this religion, some people call it, it is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and so I was raised with a doomsday perspective and still carry a lot of that with me today. Still trying to pack all that. When I was about 8 years old, I developed vitiligo, and if you don't know what that is, it's white patches that grow on your skin. So I don't know if you can really see that there. My hand is basically all white. You can see the little tan dots there. I use a lamp to help bring my color back in, but it also helps with my mood. I think it's just overall good. It's a narrow band UVB. So I'll be going into some of that with the vitiligo. I think I got that around the time I was baptized, and I think that was kind of my body rejecting it. I got baptized when I was 8. I did some of the things. I didn't do all of the things. I never got the patriarchal blessing because I never really fully subscribed to it. So I never wanted to go into that meeting with the bishop and get that. I just never wanted to do that. I don't remember a lot of my childhood. I do remember a few meetings with the bishops, but only a few, and most of them when I was older. I remember getting baptized and being in the bathroom all by myself, getting dressed into my new clothes, getting out of the wet jumper, and just feeling very gross. And I didn't know what it was. I've unpacked that now, and I now know why. But then I did baptisms for the dead one time when I was a teenager. You're allowed to do that when you are a teen, and so I'll get into some of these stories that happened as I grew up. I ended up moving out of my parents' house at 17 as soon as I could, and made some poor decisions in my 20s, like a lot of people do. And then I found the love of my life, and we have 2 beautiful daughters, and life is good. It's hard, of course, but overall I am so blessed and so grateful to be alive at this time. It is some wild times. But I really wanted this first episode to just be a brief introduction, just so that you can know what you're getting into if you're going to go and watch my channel. I hope you do. Go check out Bryce with Esoteric Atlanta. She helped me kind of get my feet wet in this arena. Like I said, I've been thinking about it for a couple years, and it's nerve-wracking to do this. Some people, you know, they just do it naturally and are love being in front of the camera. Me, not so much. This vitiligo that I have kind of gave me some trauma as a child, and I am not as ashamed of it now, but I remember just being very shameful. It was very shameful to have, because I think of the doctrine that they teach with skin colors, and we'll get into that, all the scriptures and all of the things. But the top reasons I wanted to tell my story is because of how much this corporation has hurt me and my family, and to stop it for the generations after me, at least in my line. I also hope that one day my siblings can maybe learn a little bit about me, and my nieces and nephews can get to know me. I have my family by choice. I have my nieces and nephews by choice. And I would love to have a relationship with any of the ones that are my real nieces and nephews, but I'm an apostate. When you leave the church, you are shunned, and you are told that you should keep your distance from those people. Now I know why. I left when I was young and naive, and I didn't really know what was going on. Now that I'm older and I've done more research. So basically, after my second child, I thought that I needed to go back to church, because I had a bishop one time tell me that if I ever left the church again, I'd have all sorts of health problems. Well, I've had vitiligo for forever, and shortly after I had my second daughter, I had a lot of cardiac problems. I had gestational diabetes with both pregnancies. I just had a lot of issues, and come to find out, we have a syndrome called Ehlers Danlos syndrome in our bloodline. And I started digging into that before I started digging into the Mormonism and the real roots and the real history that you're not taught when you're raised Mormon. I think it's wrong for you to put teenagers in a room with a grown man and give them the power and authority to tell you how you should live, and that they speak to God on your behalf, and they have discernment that that they know things better. You should never give your power away. I see this as a corporation. They are legally the corporation of the Church of Jesus the corporation of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. There's also the president of the corporation of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So people can say it's a church, but ultimately it's a corporation. And we'll get into the power structure and how all of that works as I go. The biggest thing for me is the shame, especially toward the women and the children, that the men put on that shame transfer. And I think that's going to be one of my first episodes, is really talking about that shame transfer and how that happens and what that looks like. There is so much abuse in this corporation, and it's boiling over to where we have to stop and we have to look at what is happening. And if you don't, then you are part of the problem, in my opinion. My sister had, when I started learning about all these things, I reached out to them. That's how I found out about the Ehlers Danlos, after I had my second daughter, and we kind of had a relationship through Marco Polo for a while. And one of my sisters asked me if I could not speak badly about the church because they get kind of a bad rap. And this is me respectfully saying I cannot sit down and be quiet. I have for a couple years, and I have to change that. I have to start talking about this because it's so much worse than anybody can, than most people can wrap their minds around. And I understand that, and it's hard to look at, but this is how it has continued for so long. The people before us like the satanic panic in the 90s. They didn't want to look at it, so they brushed it under the rug, shoved it in the corner, and pretended it wasn't a thing. Well, here we are today. We're going to talk about things like David Levitt, the Glenn Pace memo. He was a presiding bishop who came out and was trying to blow the whistle on this problem, but the leaders in the church do not want to look at it because they are complicit, in my opinion. Allegedly, there are a lot of things that have been alleged, and we're going to look at some of that. And do I think that the victims have been pushed to the side long enough, and it needs to stop. That shame transfer needs to stop. I think it's really important also for my family to know my point of view. I know their point of view. I was raised in the church. I know how I am looked upon. And that's obvious with just the lack of relationship. They have recently, I've had a couple interactions with a couple of them, and they weren't the best, and I wish them the best, but I cannot have a relationship with people who don't want to have those conversations and can't look at things objectively. They want to stay in the bubble that the church is true, and I understand that. It's a comfort, but this church is anything but true, and it's harmful at the very least, if not sadistic at the very worst. And again, we'll get into all of those reasons why. I know it's going to be hard for a lot of people to hear, but this church is not helping anybody but their own pockets, and they're doing a lot of harm in the process. And floodlit.org is a great example of that. If you want to just go like briefly look at thousands of cases happening right now. My door is always open. I would love to have a relationship again with any of my siblings and nieces and nephews when that time is right for both of us. We have all had some sort of indoctrination, and that's why I've called this channel the Sacred Secret Society, because this is as old as time. People trying to control other people and make them do their bidding, and we've been doing that for a long time, especially here in America, paying for all of these wars and all of these crimes that we're learning about in these files, that we've learned about in files before, like the WikiLeaks. But we have to look at them, and we have to have justice and stop these crimes from happening anymore. If we don't stand up, it's just going to be worse for our children and those to come after us. And this is not easy stuff to look at. It's been a rough few years, and a lot of my closest people are like, what are you doing? If you want to go see my Facebook page, that's where I do a lot of my stuff right now. I am working on, again, starting this channel and building up my other platforms under the same handle. But under Facebook right now, you can find me at Lahoo. It's Lawho. A lot of people don't say my name right, can't say it right, or just Larene, Lauren, there's lots of different ways, but it's Larene. And so one of my friends started calling me Lahoo. So you can find me there, Lahoo, Lars, Lars, if you want to see some of the things I post about things that I'm really passionate about. And this is one of them, the harm that the church causes, and making it stop, because it needs to end. As I was saying, we all have some sort of indoctrination, whether it be in the church or the country that you live in, to be loyal to that country, or your family system where you are supposed to honor the family and never speak ill about them. And I want to be very clear, this is not an attack on my family. This is not speaking ill of any of them. It is simply speaking truths and giving that truth power to take down these demons that are trying to run the world, who have been successfully running the world for some time now. It has to end. My girls are literally everything, and they need to know what this is. When I found out about the Ehlers Danlos, it was very scary. And just if you've never heard of it before, Ehlers Danlos, brief explanation is that it's a connective tissue disorder. Connective tissue literally makes up everything in our body, from our skin to our blood to all the cells in our body. Everything comes together with connective tissue. So joints, I have to wear these gloves a lot for pain because my knuckles like to go out of place, especially my thumbs. Any bone of my body likes to kind of pop out of place. The first time I learned that something was out of place was my SI joint in my early 20s. Although the orthopedic doctor did not mention Ehlers Danlos, he just said that my SI joint moved, and that just happens for some people. It was not until 20 years later, after working for dermatology and endocrinology and as a CNA, helping other people, I had never heard of Ehlers Danlos until my sister told me about it. But my girls, if they have this, I'm kind of grateful that I didn't know about it until I had my second, because I don't know if I would have had her, and they are my life. They are everything. They're just amazing humans, and I want to watch them grow up. And when you first hear about and learn about this, it's kind of scary to where you don't think you're going to have very much longer. And there were a few times that I really thought I was just going to be leaving this earth. Some heart issues and just the pain, the brutal years that came after having her. I will give that the Mormon church taught me how to disassociate pretty well, so I had that going for me. Now I am fully online and understanding what is going on in this world, and working on healing my body as best as I can to be here for as long as I can, and hopefully show them that no matter what happens, even if you do have this, you can do anything you put your mind to. It's not a hindrance, it's actually a superpower when you really learn about all of it. I know that's where I get my empathy. I know that this is a lot of my problems when I was a child, with depression and not wanting to be alive anymore. That is completely changed now with my girls and my man in my life, because they have taught me true love. I always say it's my joy and pleasure to live another long-lasting, wonderful day, and that's how I'm going to end every video, because it's a gift to be here. And a long time, for a very long time, I was cursed being here. I thought it was a curse. And while we may have some curses in my genealogical line, and I will go more into why I believe that is so, with some of the Freemason things that I've learned, I'm here to help show anybody who feels that way that it's not the end. There is a lot more, a lot of good that can come from the trauma and the heartache and the issues that we have here. Being spiritual is being in your body. So that's step number one, is just really getting to the root cause of your issues. The body keeps the score. And when you start working on yourself and you start working through all of these issues, you will realize a lot of things. But my depression was really bad as a child, and through most of my life, through most of my 20s, really bad postpartum depression after I had both girls, especially my second, because of things that I've learned, and things that were happening. My nephew by choice was in a car accident the day after my second daughter was born, and it was a very traumatic year. It's still traumatic 5 years later. I miss him every day. I almost lost my niece in that same accident, and I am so grateful that she's still here. I love you so much, Sammy, and we miss you every day, Isaiah. The health issues have really brought me here to this place that I'm at now, and I know that I need to do this for some reason. Whatever it is, whatever comes out of it, I just want everyone to know that this is out of love. Everything I say, everything I do even on my Facebook page, is out of love. Have always wanted to serve others. Service to others has always been at the core of my being, and that shows when I went into CNA work. Like I thought I was going to be a nurse, and then I realized that I did not want to work every holiday and weekends and the overnights anymore, and so that has morphed and changed, but I still ultimately want to help people, and that is what this channel is going to be about. Just helping as much as I can. I hope that anybody else who wants to help others, that we can band together and really bring a light back to this world and help support victims and get justice for some of these terrible things that have happened, especially all the things that have come to light. I am still pretty distraught about what happened in September at UVU, and I think it's just a catalyst for me to really speak up about these things, because there is some very sinister things going on in this world, and they don't want us to know. They don't want us to talk about it. So that's why we have to talk about it. It's, abuse is as old as time. And as I said earlier, controlling people is as old as time. And when you are raised in a culture of perfection and competition, and put your shoulder to the wheel, and families can be together, but only if you do certain things, only if you're worthy and you follow God's plan. That indoctrination is so tough to break through. And I just hope that I can give anybody else courage to break through that also, and support in any way I can. Again, service to others is really where we need to be. I'm working on getting communication set up, but again, you can find me on Facebook. I will plan to do at least a video a week. We'll see how it goes. It is not my first nature to do this. I never really loved social media. I got on Facebook and started becoming more active when I started learning about the church stuff, and I found ex-Mormon groups and started going down some of these rabbit holes, and it was very helpful. And people like Lex and Self on the Shelf, Nuance Ho, Cara Burrell, I love you. John Dehlin and his channel is amazing. Jordan and McKay, there are so many out there, but then there are also people who use these platforms for horrible reasons, like Jody Hildebrandt, Ruby Frankie, the Daybells. They didn't use this platform, but they fell into the cult within the cult of the LDS Church, and that's what we need to expose. That's what we need to look at. I want to make it very, very clear that most people of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are great, amazing people. If you ever see the missionaries out, they're kids. They are 19 years old. They are just doing what they have been told that they're supposed to do to get that wife and to have that perfect life. That is how you're indoctrinated and brought up. So always be kind. Please feed them. They're probably going on low resources. Unfortunately, they pay their own way. And so the church literally sends out kids to be salesmen on their behalf, but they have to pay for it to do it. So that's a little fucked up. I cuss a lot because of the pain. It really helps to just say the cuss word sometimes. So I'm just going to bring it out on the first episode. It is fucking bullshit what they do to these kids. And anyone who is a member who is indoctrinated into believing things that just are not true, to feed the ego, is what this church is. It breeds narcissism. And those abuse patterns do not change until somebody changes them. And so that is my goal, to bring change, to bring some accountability, to bring some justice, and hopefully wake some people up to get out of the burning building before it's too late. It's never too late to change your route. You can go find some of the things I've already done with Bryce over on Esoteric Atlanta. I'll probably put those up here eventually also, but there's a lot to get into, so we're just gonna get into it. And I am excited and nervous and terrified and all of the emotions. Again, this is not my forte. I am not someone who really likes to be the star of the show or the spotlight on me. Like, I kind of like to hide in the background, but I've recently been told that this is kind of what I need to do. God's been talking to me for a few years about it, and I can't say no anymore. I am jumping in with both feet, and I hope you'll follow me. I hope that you can find that inner peace that true God can bring to you, that you don't have to disassociate anymore for reality, for life to be great. Being present at all times is so crucial to the healing, and working on your body has really been the key for me. So there's also Fusion Body Studio, which you can find. I'll have links here on my channel to that, or you can go to, again, Esoteric Atlanta. Bryce over there, she goes into so many things. She's taught me so many things over the years that I watched her, along with a lot of other people like Heidi Love here recently. I recently found her, and like, just everything makes so much sense. I'm so excited to talk to some of these people and get into the nitty-gritty of it all, because we need to talk about it for things to change. And I want a better life. I want my girls to have a better life than I had, and I hope that people can find some healing and some help through some of these videos. No matter what, I am so grateful to be alive. I did not feel that way for the majority of my life, and so it's a great place to be. It took me 40 years to get here, so if you're still in your 20s or your 30s, don't give up. It will get better, and let's talk about some of those things and how we can make them better. The real sacred secret that they don't want you to know is that it is within. You do not have to look to anybody else for anything. Nobody has discernment better than you. You know what is best for you. And if anybody comes in and says, I know what's best for you, those are the people that you want to stay away from. Those are the people that you don't want to trust, because they just want to control you. Go inside, work within yourself, do some shadow work and exercise, and eat healthy, get some fresh air, walk in the grass. I love my plants. They're my babies. So I'm always getting that soil therapy. My oldest calls them my little green children, and they are. They make me happy. And I hope to grow food and maybe journal some of that here also eventually, but really there is no sacred secret that you can't find, and that's what they don't want you to know. So always trust your gut. Always look at your instincts first and foremost. Do not give that power away to somebody else, because they will take it and use it for nefarious purposes. And that's what I believe that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints has done for centuries now, almost 200 years. And I'm here to help stop that and maybe wake some people up. And not everybody's going to wake up, and a lot of people are just going to stay in it because they are very comfortable with the priesthood and the power that that gives you, and the money and the status that Utah can bring. If you're not Mormon, don't go to Utah, because it might not be so fun for you. I hope that, again, I bring some light on the subject and just some love out in the universe, and hope that everybody feels that love through what I say and what I do. I know not everyone is going to take it that way because I am going to come down hard on this organization because it needs to happen. They need to have a reckoning for all of the harms that they have done. And justice needs to be served to all the victims, not only in this cult, but also with all of the Epstein issues, which I will also be getting into because, of course, the Mormons came up. I was not surprised at all. How it came up a little bit, that I was a little bit surprised, but it just goes right along with that carpooling for the 2-year missions, 1.5 for the girls. That is kind of that carpooling thing. So it is baked in there real good into their psyche. And it took me being out for 15 years to unwind some of that in my brain. So if you're going through this also, please be kind to yourself. Know that you're not alone. We are all just trying to walk each other home, and we will figure out it all one day when we are on the other side. But while we're here, we need to stand up for victims, and we need to stand up for children, and we need to stand up for women, and we need to stop whatever this is. And now that it's in black and white and you can see it, don't dismiss it, because these victims have not had a voice for a long time, and they deserve it. They deserve our respect, and they deserve our empathy, and to believe them and not tell them it's just a satanic panic. These things have been going on since life began. And when you look into the worship of Moloch and Baal, you start to learn some of these things. And it's really in the darkness of all of that that I found God, oddly enough, because he wasn't a part of my life, or it, she, source. I don't even think we can gender it, because what is it? Light? We won't know until we're dead. And a lot of people say that they know that it's the one true church on the face of the earth, but it's not. It's really not. We can do so much better. And I hope that you will join me on this journey of exposure and love and ways that we can help each other, guide each other home, and make a better life for our kids to come after us. I am grateful to be alive. I'm honored that I can do this. A little terrified that I'm doing this, but I am so grateful to be alive. It is my joy and pleasure to live another long-lasting, wonderful day. I hope you follow me on this journey.